recording right now. Okay, so welcome everyone. We're going to go over some economic data first. I'm just going to get started. This is recorded, so if you miss anything, you can just go and watch it. I'll post it afterwards. But yeah, so for Monday, we don't really have too much news going on. We have two Fed speakers before the market opens, and then we do have leading economic indicators 30 minutes after market is open. So that will be important and something to watch for, but I will be live. So I'll make sure to let you guys know. And then on Tuesday, we have some more Fed speakers, and that looks like it's basically all we have. So not too much going on for Tuesday. Same thing on Wednesday, and then same sort of thing on Thursday. PMI will be important, but everything else is not really something you'll have to watch for. And then Friday, we have some more Fed speakers and then new home sales. So again, not a whole lot going on this next week for economic data, which is a good thing, but we did get a credit downgrade. So I'll be going over like NQ real quick and what I see for this coming week. And then again, I kind of sent a screenshot in chat of one of Trump's advisors, someone who works with him, whatever, said that if countries don't start trying to make deals, tariffs will go back into place. And if we see any headlines about that this week, obviously you guys know where the market's headed with that. But the credit downgrade, so people are not, going to take it as a super big deal. That's just how it always goes. We get a hard drop when we get a credit downgrade. This happened back in 2023 was the last time we got one. Markets get a big drop, everyone gets a little scared. And then, a day or two later, we make a complete recovery of where we were at before the credit downgrade. So I'm not too worried about this, and I really don't think it is going to affect too much, but I think it could open up some really great opportunities, which is what I said in chat. I have some really good trade ideas for this next week. So the first thing I want to see while I'm watching NQ and just getting an overall view of our market, I'll go over ES as well, or probably won't go over ES too much because, we mainly trade tech. So NQ, kind of what I'm looking for. Obviously, we opened up. We've gotten some downside. But what I would ideally like to see is us really retrace back into 21,200 area, touch there, and then continue back up. For that reason, I just want to see a general retracement, retest this area. And then after we do that, I think, we will get some really nice upside from there. Obviously, that's not always the case. That's not always going to happen. So I am waiting, obviously, for New York Open to see where we're going to be headed. Lowest point we got is around this 2250, which is slightly where I want to be, but I do really want to see into that 21, lower 200s into 21 190 range. Retrace there, we tap that zone, and then we continue up. If for any reason, also the second case, like I just talked about, one, you don't want to marry your trading plan. We come up with a plan, don't marry it. If it doesn't work out, you adapt. So if we don't touch that area, I'm, still looking, like I just said, with a credit downgrade, not too worried about it. The market, first we have a hard fall and then we make a pretty quick recovery after we get these credit downgrades. So if we don't touch that area, I assume we will kind of be chopping a little bit tomorrow while the market decides what to think of this and what we're going to do. So I assume we will probably be trading within this 21,250 to like 21,350 almost area. I would say, or even 21,380 up to there. I would say we get some, chop in that area, some accumulation, and then we finally make our move. Maybe we get a manipulation down, touch a specific area, and then retrace back up and get that distribution, which is kind of what I'm looking for. Again, that is kind of my plan, is still we touch a certain area, we drop to a certain area, get that manipulation, and then distribute back up, because with the credit downgrade, again, not a huge deal unless we get more news about tariffs or just some bad news in general this next week. So definitely account for that. So that is my general overview of what I think. So Qs, obviously, we can't overnight, does not show up on the charts just yet. So I believe QQQ is trading around 516 right now. So that's kind of where we're sitting. If you guys give me 1 second, I'll be back in like 1 minute. Hold on. Okay, so same sort of thing for QQQ that I just said on NQ. I would like to see us maybe retrace back to 515, 514 range, and then we get a continuation up. So yeah, right now, to be exact, Qs is trading at 516.59. So we're still trading in this area where we got a ton of downside Friday after market close. So yeah, I would like to see us touch within this 514 tomorrow. I assume we kind of chop around for Monday. I don't think we're going to get that move up just yet unless we get good news. Always a case of that. But that's generally what I kind of think will happen. And then Tuesday, we may get that expansion to the upside and try to reach those levels we were at from last week. Again, there's multiple cases to this. That's kind of my first plan, but don't marry your plan. Obviously, I can't predict the future. I don't exactly know what's going to happen. We could chop in this area overnight and then get a move up, or we could break below this area. In that case, then we have a market structure shift. We're looking more bearish. That's just how it's going to work out for that scenario. So my first scenario, again, is we kind of touch this area and then we get some upside Tuesday, or that's kind of like my main case. Or, we break below it and we continue trading lower, or we just kind of chop around tomorrow and then continue up and don't really get a confirmation. But yeah. Yeah, I agree. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for Qs. Let's go over Tesla, or let's do SPY first. So SPY, again, same sort of thing. So exact area that we're trading at right now is 590.06. So we kind of touch into this 588.25. Again, I think it's very possible we could touch here again overnight, or once the market opens tomorrow, touch here. Chop within this range. I would say chop within 588 to 590, 91 range. We kind of get that chop tomorrow, and then we could make a move Tuesday. Yeah, always a possible case we don't get chop. And then for the rest of the week, again, you guys kind of know my outlook already. I would like to see us hold back above like 592, and then start reaching up back to where we kind of were at from last week into that 593, 594 area. Same thing with Qs. Touch here, kind of chop around in this maybe 514 to like 517 area tomorrow, and then Tuesday we break above 517, and then we get some upside back into that 520 range. Again, always the case if we go on the 1 hour, there's always a case of if we break below this area, we could continue and we could see back into 510 to 508. That is always possible as well. So now let's go over Tesla. So Tesla's actually currently sitting at 341.60. So it's up a little bit from, overnight. After market close on Friday, once we got that initial credit downgrade, everything moved down. So Tesla, to me, is holding up really well. So I'm on the 1 hour chart right now. So same sort of thing with Tesla. I think, if we could tap back into 338, 337 and hold that up, Tesla being really strong still and holding up most of its levels, I think we could easily, bounce and see back up into 345 to 350. And if we continue to be extra bullish, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we could just keep continuing up. Because again, we don't have much economic data, but if we do get bad news, that's where you want to be watching to see if we break key levels. So yeah, that's kind of my input for Tesla. If we do break below this area, I assume Tesla will kind of chop within 330 to 335. So we'll see. And then Nvidia, we'll go over Nvidia. Yeah, so everything, I mean, after last week, everything is still holding up really nicely, even though that credit downgrade Friday after market close. So Nvidia is sitting at 132.71 right now. I really do think everything is still looking really strong. I think we still want that retracement, back up from all the market gains we lost in March and April. I My outlook is pretty bullish. I still think we do really want that. So, if we continue to hold up this like 31 range on Nvidia, again, we could see easily back into 135 and above 135 this week. As long as we don't break below there. If we do, then that's where our new plan will have to come in. And then not going to go over SMCI, not going to go over AMD. I'll go over coin. So right now, yeah, Bitcoin is doing pretty well right now, trading above 105 actually. I know we broke 105 a little earlier today, but I saw we did fall back below. So if we do continue to hold up 105, I'm sure, yeah, right now Mara, Coin, MSTR, they're all, or maybe not Coin. Coin's actually at 263.70, 263.17 right now. Ooh, so this could be a good one. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. All right, so for coin, my initial thoughts, although Bitcoin has, gotten a lot of upside, going into tomorrow, we could see us not hold this up with Bitcoin, which means coin, MSTR, Mara might get some chop if Bitcoin still holds up like, 103 to 104, but doesn't hold above 105. I wouldn't really be looking to trade coin and MSTR and Mara. But in the case that Bitcoin continues to hold 105 up overnight and is still bullish, I would be looking to see coin, holding up 260 and we can get back above 265. And if we're extra bullish, I really think that coin we could see up to, 270 to 273 range. If not, I'm not really going to be looking to trade coin. I would much rather just trade some upside on coin and then, I'll reassess if Bitcoin is not holding this up and see if, it is good to trade, but I'd rather just kind of let it chop around. Meta, same sort of thing, with all the tech stocks, same sort of thing. We're pretty strong across the board on most tech stocks, especially after last week. So currently sitting at 629.36. So pretty much same area we were at Friday after close. So this is a pretty key level as well. I would ideally like to see us hold back above 631. 631 range is kind of where I would like to see us hold back above to see back. Meta moves a lot, so to see back into 650, 655, I definitely think we could see that this week as long as we are bullish. If we do not, and if we cannot hold up, 630 area, 631, Meta could continue into low 600 again. So definitely just keep an eye on that. It's not the strongest, but it is still pretty strong. I'm not going to go over Google or Netflix. Actually, I'll go over Google because Google's been performing pretty well, especially after that drop. What are these from? I don't even remember placing these. Okay, well, ignore those. Oh. Google is your precious. Yeah, okay, so Google, also a good one to be taking a look at. So right now, let's see, what is Google trading at? Google is trading at 163.51. So again, not much change from Friday close or after market close. So ideally, I think if Google does hold up 164 going into tomorrow, this next week we could see back up into, 165 to 167. Although I don't really trade Google too much, and I know it's more of a slow mover, so I wouldn't be counting on that. But yeah, again, always a case of if we don't hold these up, be looking to see if we break a key level, then we can get a continuation down. So don't marry this plan. This is kind of just my general outlook. Next, you know what? We'll take a look at MSTR. So we're trading at 404 right now. Right? Yeah, 405.88 actually. So MSTR got some nice upside, although trading MSTR beginning of the week isn't the greatest thing because those contracts are expensive. So I'm not really sure if I will, be looking to call this out. But if we continue to hold above 105, this is actually a pretty nice area. Again, we could see into those ranges we got last week, maybe into above 420 again, into like 425 the week before as well, that we kind of got and saw that. So I would be looking to see that on MSTR, but again, you have to be watching Bitcoin. Yeah, right now Bitcoin's not even holding up 105, so this tomorrow will be a test to see how strong it is. But yeah, I wouldn't be paying too much attention to these, without watching Bitcoin. That is the key factor in trading Coinbase, MSTR, Mara, any of the, miners like Mara and Riot. So make sure you're watching Bitcoin if you're going to be trading those. So yeah, if we continue to hold up 405 on MSTR, Bitcoin's moving up and holding up 105. I think we could easily see back into 420 to 425 on MSTR. Next thing, let's take a look at Tempest AI. Kind of been watching this here and there a little bit, but I haven't really done anything with it yet. So I do like Tempest AI for a potential move up as long as, we continue to hold. Going into tomorrow, we hold up key levels, especially on like Qs and SPY and all that. So I do like this, 62, even like 62.70 area on Tempest. I think we're currently sitting at, let's take a look. We are currently sitting at 61.80. So we are down a little bit, but if we do hold above like 62, 63, we could easily see into, 65 to like 68 range. So I'd be watching this one. It moves pretty nicely. I did a couple trades on it, but I haven't traded it in a while. But yeah, that is basically all I will be looking at for this week.